I'm Rhett,
And I'm Brandon.
and we're the House Dads, because we're dads who sell houses,
But we're also husbands, business owners, sports freaks, Christians.
friends, marketing nerds, TV show bingers, and so many more things.
Like so many of you, we're just trying to do it all, and we're trying to do it well.
And that's what we're here to talk about.
Welcome, everybody, to the next episode of House Dads. Super excited that you guys are all here with us. We're going to have a good conversation today.
Yeah, we're starting this off with the giggles, so we'll see if we can.
It's it's been fun getting the set ready
simmer
today.
down a little
Yeah,
bit.
but it's going to be a lot of fun. This is actually our second time filming this one. Hey, we're,
Yeah.
a good bit of episodes in, and so for this to be the first time that we had to film a second time, I'd consider that a win.
Yeah, and now we're getting a chance to fine-tune it.
Exactly.
And make it our own. The other one was just all fake. This one's going to be real.
This is the real stuff.
It's the real
Honestly, I think if we needed a second take on one, this could be it.
Yes.
And it gave me a little bit more time to think about this. What we're going to be talking about today is, I think, and I don't know if it's just because I was naive to it or if I was younger and if I wasn't paying attention, but now, and especially within the last 5 years, there has been a massive, massive push in personal development.
Yep.
Mindset training and
Yeah.
all these different things. And so today we're going to be talking about this conversation of mindset training, this conversation of personal development. Is it for real or not?
Or is it voodoo, or is it fluff? Yeah,
Right.
this isn't a new thing. It's just it feels more amplified.
Yeah, right.
I guess I would attribute social media to that. Everybody's talking about mindset. And,
Yes.
and we are in a sales industry, right? We're in a self-employed. You are your own boss. So there's always people that are saying, hey, you need to start off on the right foot. You need to have a healthy mindset. So we hear it all of the time that we have to train our minds. It's one thing to say, hey, be positive.
Sure.
But it requires action. It requires intentionality. And some of the things you see people doing or saying, you're like, all right, is this like, do I really need to do
That's
that?
a little weird.
It's a little fluffy. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're talking about. We know that the mind is a powerful thing, and then it can do and allow us to do big things or just be really strategic and intentional with it. But there are some things where we're like, is it worth doing?
Right.
So, and it feels a little, and we'll get more into it, the reasons of why, but like you kind of have to find the line of what's real.
Yeah.
What is worth doing, what works for me. I remember when I first, some of the early years in real estate, I don't know how old this book is, but The Miracle Morning. Have you read that?
Yeah. I haven't read it. But
I
I've
haven't
heard of
either.
it. Yeah.
But man, it was like, it still is kind of all the rave.
Right.
Like people were all about, this is the best book and you got it, like it gets your mindset really just amped up. And at that time I was kind of like, look, that's kind of the Bible for me.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to.
Like, I'm good. I got mine.
I got my stuff. I didn't really fall into it.
Sure.
But, of course, the more more time passes, your mind opens up a little more and you start to experience new things. But a book I'm actually reading right now, it's taken me a while. It's pretty thick.
Yeah.
It's an oldie, but it's Think and Grow Rich. And I hate the title of some of these books.
Yeah.
Someone sees me in a coffee shop reading Think and Grow Rich. So
I can immediately be like,
Yeah. But the premise of it is it's incredible. But they start off with the story of a guy who started from the bottom. Shout out Drake. That he said, hey, I am going to be in business with Thomas Edison. That shows you how old the book is.
Yeah, a little old.
Tommy Ed. But he doesn't say, hey, I want to work for. He says, I want to be in business with.
Right.
And he's just a nobody.
Right.
But he sets his mind to it. He says it out loud. He just trains his mind to truly believe he's going to do that one day.
Right.
And long story short, he ends up just working his way up the ladder. Thomas Edison comes up with this new invention that people don't quite believe in, but the dude sells the crap out of it,
Right.
which gets Thomas Edison's attention.
Yeah.
And long story short, he ends up
That's cool.
in business with Thomas Edison.
That's cool.
So you see the power that it can. Of course, it is a book, but you see the power of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, there's so many different thoughts about the way that you think right now.
Yeah.
And, I think there's some that really get that rap of being super fluffy, and it's just in this kind of vein, just name it and claim it, and you manifest it, and it will happen and come true. And I'm not a big believer in that, but I do believe that your life is moving in the direction of your strongest thought.
Yeah.
That's Craig Groeschel, and that's one of my favorite guys to listen to on mindset and everything like that. And, I really believe that there's a battle in your mind and that you have to try and win that battle in your mind. And there's tools to do that. And so teaching and learning on mindset and all these different things is really, really important.
Mm-hmm.
But what we do to win that battle or what we do to train our mind, we got to be careful. We got to protect it too.
Yeah. For
So
sure.
I think that there's some teaching out there and there's some things out there that just really are not healthy for mindset training too.
And, I'm 12 years into real estate.
Right.
35 years into life, and there's still doubt of like, man, I don't think this is kind of bull or what you are talking about, you know?
Right.
But you mentioned Craig. Is there any other like books you've read or
his is probably the one that I focus on the most. I think that most of my mindset, and if you listen to our podcast for a good bit of it by now, you know that most of my thoughts about my mindset and my focus is going to be based on my faith.
Yeah.
And so, man, you read Ecclesiastes and Proverbs and all those books that Solomon writes. Those are some pretty good books on mindset too. Books. That's where a lot of mindset training or reformatting, if you will, has come from as well.
Yeah.
Too.
And I don't know any stats, but I would imagine like this space is just so crowded with books and resources.
Yeah.
And look, our podcast is on kind of similar style to
it's
that.
in there.
We're talking about it.
Sure. Right.
So, you never know what to listen to. You really just kind of go off of people's recommendations. And not everybody is the same. So their recommendations are going to sometimes be a little, I don't know.
Yeah. And it's going to be something that you get into in a little bit. But I think the biggest thing with all of this is realizing that, in all these different ideas about mindset training and personal development is that nobody has a one-size-fits-all approach.
Yeah.
It's bits and pieces of different things that have kind of helped us focus our minds the way that it does today. Mm-hmm. And we still struggle with it for sure. But I do believe that it's a choice. Like whatever you're looking for, you're going to find.
Yep.
So there's positive and negative situations. And whatever your mind is focused on the most, that's usually the direction it's going to follow. So
speaking of what my mind is focused on, this is our first episode filming with the lights on.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. I kind of feel exposed.
I'm pretty distracted right now. But Cam says it's going to work. So
we listen to Cam, the Cam guy.
Leave us a comment on YouTube and say, hey, it looks great, or please. Hey, Cam, let's go back with the lights off.
We're not trying to see that much of these guys.
But my mind is a little distracted, so that's the power of the mind. No, but we've talked about different ways people do practice mindset and kind of get in the same or the healthy spot for it. So we kind of made a little list, not to go too much in depth, of what some people do to have and practice a healthy mindset. And the first one, surprise, surprise, we talk about it probably every episode, is gratitude.
Because it's important.
Yes.
So it carries a common theme through every topic of life, is that gratitude's a good foundation for all of it.
And you don't quite realize how many opportunities you have every day to choose if you're going to be thankful or if you're going to choose negative.
Yeah, take it for granted.
Yes.
Yeah.
I literally this morning, I went to work out, and the gym that I work out at in the mornings they just got a new squat rack.
Nice.
And it's pretty cool. It's got like the deadlift section where it's hardwood and the cushions on the side. Yeah. And they didn't have that before. So when I got there this morning, I was like, sweet, this is awesome. And actually, it was deadlift day, so I did it.
Let's go.
And then a dude came up to me afterwards, and he was like, well, this is pretty fancy, huh? I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And he was like, well, they're probably going to add it to our bills at the end of the month. You know, we're going to be the ones paying for it. I'm like,
yikes,
bro,
dude. That sounds like a misdirected frustration to the gym.
I mean, like, I'm thankful we have a cool squat rack. Right. Yes, they may do it, but I mean, it's kind of how businesses work.
Yeah.
But even in like HOA settings in our neighborhood, there's always just people. You don't realize how thankful. We got a list the other day, not to continue on this.
No,
so we weren't going to go into it, but we got a list. Our HOA gave us like 7 options. Hey, we got this chunk of money. How do we want to spend it? Choose your options. It's like, cool. We got options of like what we get to do. Everybody's just so mad. We need to do that. Like adding to the list. I'm like, guys,
come on, y'all.
Let's just get
We got some options. Let's take a pick here.
And vote for the playground. My kids need to get out of my house.
Yeah.
Second thing we have, which can fall into the weird category, is positive self-talk and affirmations.
Yeah.
Do you say affirmations every morning?
Nope. And that's one of the things that I talked about, how Craig Groeschel is one of my favorite guys who teaches on leadership and mindset training. And he's a great pastor, but he does these affirmations every morning. and like puts him up by his mirror, repeats him back to himself, and all that different stuff. And man, I tried it, and I'm like, bro, this is just not for me. I tried it, and not that it's a bad thing. Hey, to each their own on this, but this was just one of those things that a guy that I really follow and admire and like in a lot of different things he teaches. It was just like, I just couldn't get behind it.
Yeah.
So
I don't quite do it either, but it's a common thing that people do, and we'll talk a little bit more as we go. But
right.
Next one is pretty simple: exercise.
Yeah.
Just talked about it this morning. A lot of people know that they need to be active, whether they're trying to lose weight, add muscle. At the end of the day, it's helping them stay in the right mindset.
And like we've talked about before too, that physical attention on your body also helps the mental as well.
Absolutely.
Massively. Like I was thinking about the other day, I was talking to some buddies about football and stuff, and I forget what we were watching. I think it was like an XFL game because it's spring.
Oh, snap.
Yeah,
Nice.
just on the background. But this dude had like 100 armbands up and down his arms. It was just obnoxious. But even our coach used to say back in the day, he said, "Man, if you feel good, or if you look good, you feel good. You feel good, you play good." So even with just like a little physical thing, man, when you feel good about yourself, it starts to affect the mindset too.
I think the direct quote, you know where it's from? Deion Sanders, Prime Time.
That's
His exact quote, I think, was, "If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pay good."
That's right. I like that. Okay, yeah.
It's one of my favorite quotes.
Not in high school. We didn't have NIL stuff yet. So.
But yes, exercise is one of them.
Yeah.
Next one could fall into the weirdo category, the self-care.
Right.
That's a broad term, but the things that you do for self-care.
Sure.
You want to give an example of that?
Well, I mean, I think that there's a lot of different examples. I think with self-care, I'm hesitating here because I think that self-care for me is different than self-care for a lot of other people. Like one of the biggest things we've been doing right now that I've been self-caring myself with is some golf, which actually is more like self-torture.
Yeah, that can be pretty bad.
But yeah, like, going out and golfing, doing different things like that is self-care for me. But then for self-care for some people, it's a cold plunge.
It's a cold plunge.
Or it's a
cold shower.
Or it's, something else like
I've
that.
I've seen, there's a company, I think it's called Float. Have you heard of that? You literally float in like a big salt bath. I don't think that's all it is to it, but it's like a very dark setting, and you're in it. It's so thick, the salt, so you're literally just floating, and there's no light, no music.
That's crazy.
It sounds pretty creepy, but
only thing I heard, Aaron Rodgers. Did you see that?
Yeah,
when he went away to a darkness retreat for 3 days, just in the dark.
Yeah,
that was self-care in his mind.
Yeah,
to make his decision to go sign with the Jets. I'm like, okay, bro. Yep. To each their own.
You collect your millions after that.
Yeah, exactly.
And the last one on the list is just it's self-support and accountability. So obviously surrounding yourself with people that are going to be healthy.
Right.
Or help you keep that healthy mindset.
Yeah.
You're an example of who you hang out with.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that we're both on the same page. We really wouldn't be doing this if we weren't.
Yeah.
I mean, even though we disagree on some things that are different in some other areas, but, like I'd mentioned before, I think that your life is moving in the direction of your strongest thought. And, I gave the example before that if you're in the car and you're focused on obviously the road, but then if you look down on your phone or you drop something down in the crack between the center console and your seat and it gets lost. And so if you look away, anytime you take your eyes off of something, then that's where your direction heads to. So that's why focus is so important. Whatever you're focusing on, your feet will follow. So why does it get such a bad rap?
That's the thing is like, why? It's important. So why do even me, I'm in this boat. Like, why do you sometimes doubt or question or, not, some people just straight up saying, no, I don't believe.
Yeah.
So lucky for you guys.
We got some answers.
We made a list for you.
I heard something the other day. In some of these more, this is totally an aside, but when I said we got some answers, in some of these more progressive, is that the word, cities and areas and things like that,
like
they
Lafayette
don't
or
do.
something?
Yeah, like Lafayette. No, you see, they sprinkling on crawfish now. That's all the rage right now. Dried. You ever heard of dusting crawfish?
Never until this moment.
Exactly, because you're a real Louisiana boy.
Dusting.
Yeah, so it is it's a sin. Honestly,
that sounds pretty.
ULL. I'm probably going to ULL.
ULL.
They posted like a crawfish bowl that they did for their student athletes and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And at the end of the crawfish bowl, they were putting dry seasoning on top of the crawfish that were already boiled.
That sounds pretty
That's a
odd.
big deal. That's a big
Yeah.
problem. You don't do that.
Yeah.
And especially from being in Louisiana. And so they were getting roasted on Twitter. Where was I going?
I
with
just
this?
totally derailed you. But to derail you even more, did you see the video of, I think it was Jamal Williams and the Saints dipping his crawfish in
Yes.
barbecue sauce?
Dude, same kind of deal. But, he's got it out.
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
not
he's
from
not from
Louisiana, But
No, but you were, I totally derailed you.
no,
Sorry
you're
about
good.
that.
But UL.
Progressive cities.
Yeah, progressive. Oh, my God. Thank you. So they don't say any more question and answer time. They say Q&R, question and response, because answers are, not 100%. It may be true for us, but it may not be true for somebody else.
Well,
so question and response
Yeah,
time.
if anybody was triggered by the Q&A, I'm sorry. I did not know.
That's exactly. That's
I'm
more
learning.
progressive
I'm
than it is.
growing. So please forgive
Grow
me.
with us.
Yes.
So
But-
question and response
Yes,
time.
question and response. So on the question of why do people feel weirded out or kind of doubt the mindset game, these are our responses that we came
Yes,
up
there
with.
you go.
Right?
Very good. Very
So first one, kind of straightforward. They're unfamiliar with the concept. Some
Yep.
people just aren't, they don't know what they should be doing or that they even can do it. They kind of wake up, whether it's they just kind of grew up not doing it or not being exposed to it, or they're around a group of friends who don't do it. They don't know that they have the ability and the tools to be able to actively do things to.
Exactly. This is something that I've heard that applies to personal development, but it applies to everything else. People are down on what they're not up on.
Oof.
So they're not up on it. They don't understand it. They're usually down on it. They're
Yeah.
usually negative about it.
Yeah.
So you start talking about, hey man, I'm reading this personal development book, or I'm trying to grow my mind, or I've been starting these cold plunges, or I've been starting to do this better, and they're like, oh, that sounds ridiculous.
Yep.
And it's because they're not up on it.
It leads to discomfort and awkwardness.
That's right.
So
That's right.
they are unfamiliar with the concept.
This next one, I think, is why most people are weirded out about practicing mindset, development, and trying to get that growth, is because they feel self-conscious.
That's right.
I think that because when you actually start to say that you're going to pursue improving your mind, doing those different things, it's like a mirror. It shows you how far you have left to go.
Yeah.
It shows you how much you mess up. And it's like, well, if I just don't even focus on it, if I don't even think about it, if I don't even think about the way that I think, then I don't even ever have to fix it. So I think self-conscious is a big deal.
Yeah, and it's something out of your comfort zone, something you're not used to. So you're going to feel self-conscious, not just being exposed, like you say, but also if you are hanging around people who aren't in that same boat of trying to, improve, they're going to call you out, and you're going to feel like, oh, maybe it's not something I should be doing.
That's right. Exactly.
But I'm with you. That's one of the biggest reasons.
I think so. I
can't tell you how self-conscious it feels saying affirmations.
Right.
How it can feel a little weird.
Exactly. And maybe that was the reason I gave up on it too quickly, because I got a little self-conscious. But I don't know. And I think you got a good example about this next one. Tell that story.
This is honestly, I would battle the self-conscious and this one as being some of the biggest ones, especially with the social media world. But the point is, people just feel like it's not authentic.
Like Liver King?
Like Liver King. I thought he was real, man. He totally threw me for a loop.
Dude got
I
busted,
thought he was
bro.
natty.
Roided it up, man.
No, but yeah, you have all of these people just pushing out ideas and ideologies and products, and like you have to question: is this because even like these books, these self-help books?
Right.
Like at the end of the day, the authors want to sell them.
Yeah.
So is what they're saying, is it true? Is it authentic? Is it genuine? And yes, to give you an example, I tried my hand at the affirmation thing, or at least just hearing it. If I heard it, then I could say it in my mind. But there was a podcast. I guess it's a podcast. It's like a little 5-minute thing they listen to in the mornings called Positive Affirmations or something like that. They say, I think 2 or 3 affirmations and then a quote at the end of it.
Sure.
So I kind of got in the habit of like a couple of weeks listening to it at least. It started me off on the right foot. But there was one episode and she was going through it's like the same lady with a very calm and soothing voice. Repeat after
like
me.
Delilah. And I said, Delilah.
She was borderline a little more calm.
Okay, gotcha.
So she would start off, say after me, I am patient, or I am whatever.
Like it.
And then you all of a sudden hear a dog barking in the background. And you're like, all right, this is weird.
Yeah.
She's filming out of her house, obviously. So you hear the dog. And then after she says one of her affirmations, I don't know, I am worthy, you hear, knock it off. And she like cusses her dog out straight up. And the best part is right after she goes right back into it. I am loving.
Bro,
I'm like,
what?
dude, what? You just cussed your dog
Yeah,
out.
I'm super loving.
And it was like the next day she came out with her or the next episode, and she's like, just want to apologize for yesterday, you know, whatever.
So she just films these things live, I guess.
I guess, but she took it down. It's not
Yeah.
up there anymore. I do have a
Okay, gotcha.
recording on my phone.
So you got receipts.
I screen recorded it. If you want to
Uh-huh.
hear it, I'll send it to you. They do use our precious Lord's name in vain, so if you don't want to hear that, don't listen. But yeah, it made me feel like, man, this isn't real. She's
Right.
just like, she's trying to get views.
Yep. She's trying to make some money.
Yeah, like that's
If you're popping off at your dog in the middle of your Zen moment, it's like, come on, man. You know?
Yeah, but aside that, you see all these pictures and people on social media, like, you know, pitching stuff, and you just wonder, is it really
legit.
authentic?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, that's a big hurdle for a lot of people to overcome. And
Yep.
it's just, I think you just have to really consider the source.
Yep.
You know, is it authentic to them? You know, I'm thinking about another podcast episode that we'll do soon, is that, you know, nobody can hear what you say over what you do. And it's like, man, if your lifestyle doesn't line up with what you're actually teaching and
Right.
preaching, then it's insignificant.
Yep.
It's fake.
That is true. Going on to the next one, which is kind of, I fall into this category a lot. It feels a little too fluffy,
Yeah.
as the quotes that we have here say, but they kind of view positive mindset activities as like, that's just corny. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
It can be.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely have struggled with that before too. I think that is what did it for me. Like, I felt weird looking at myself in the mirror saying those things.
Yeah.
The positive affirmations. I'm like, yeah, it's a little too fluffy. I'm just
Yeah.
going to go do it. You know, and maybe that's just something I got to get over. But
It falls into kind of the self-conscious thing maybe,
Yeah.
but yeah, and you can even figure out, hey, it works well for me, but then when other people hear you doing it, then they voice their opinion.
That's
You're
right.
Like, you're right. Maybe it is a little corny, you know. It can be, but
Sure.
But at the end of the day, it works for some people.
yes, exactly.
So-
that's right. That's right.
The last one we have is they're skeptical. People are just skeptical of its effectiveness. So
Does it
like,
work?
it doesn't work. Y'all are all just kind of drinking some Kool-Aid
Right.
or in some sort of weird voodoo. They don't work. So I'm not gonna. I doubt it. Right? They just kind of doubt whether it actually is a
works or
waste of
not.
time or it works.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, I think the thing is it may work for somebody else, but it doesn't work for you.
Yep.
And so I think that's a big point that we talked about before all of this, is that you just got to be open-minded.
Yeah.
You know, that you're closed-minded. You're not going to have a whole lot of room for growth, but being able to have an open mind to things, be able to consider things, but consider them, you know, I think cautiously optimistic is a good way
Yeah.
to look at these different mindset teachings and trainings and stuff, is
For
to
sure.
say, okay, well, I'm going to be optimistic that maybe this does work, or maybe this does benefit my life, but cautiously proceed where you don't
Yeah.
just dive all the way in and
Yeah.
things like that.
You know, I think
So,
at the end of the day, it's worth trying. If you have any sort of like ounce of, you know, let's just see, have an open mind.
Sure.
You know, you don't want to be too open-minded. Your brains will fall out.
Exactly.
But
That's a good one.
you want to like, if you see that it's having an effect on someone else, it may be worth asking, like, hey, getting counsel of like, hey, how are you so happy? I have a friend, shout out Jody, he's our videographer, but a lot of people when they first meet him, they're like, he seems fake. He's way too nice.
Right.
He's too positive. I'm like, I've known him a
No,
long
that's
time.
him.
That dude is just pure joy.
That's cool.
So yeah, you know, you find these people that you admire, that you look up to, and you ask, how?
Yeah.
You know, I promise you, it's not like they're not waking up every day just naturally feeling like that.
Exactly.
They're doing some things.
Yeah.
So find out what it is, have an open mind, try it. And if it doesn't work for you, try something else.
Yeah.
But
That's
it is
great
important.
advice.
It is important to still try.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I think that you just got to find what works for you. It's not all fluff. There is some real stuff there to it, but consider the source.
Yep.
Is important.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
anything else to add?
That's
to
all
that?
I got, man.
Awesome. Well, we hope that was helpful for you guys. You know, again, that was kind of an open discussion on just the importance of some kind of mindset training, the importance of personal development and growing who you are and your thoughts, and really taking inventory of them and how you can improve them. But we wanted to relate to you and understand that a lot of it can feel a little funky and a little weird, you know. So it's just it's something that we still walk through and still consider daily when we put out a podcast to you on personal development, when it's like, man, I hope this is hitting home with some of you and we realize the importance and why we want to be doing it.
Absolutely.
So thank you guys for being with us. We'll catch you next time.